Hey, what is going on? Welcome into the channel. So happy to have you here always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we look at more of the esoteric side of what's going on with your energy through the tarot, through the astrology, mediumship, channeled messages. So definitely let's get into it. These are always timeless readings, just as a heads up. And so use your discernment accordingly, right? Just take what fits, leave the rest behind. Not everything is going to resonate because it is a collective message. And I also do personal readings. So if you want me to look at your specific situation a little bit more closely, definitely hit me up. I do tarot, astrology, mediumship. And then I also do energy healing, and holistic wellness consultation. Just a recentering, a grounding, a way to support our mind, body, and soul. And I would totally be honored to help you out with that. So hit me up if you're interested. All that info's in the description box below. As I'm recording this, or when I'm recording this, Jupiter just went into retrograde. We have 5 planets in retrograde right now. Retrograde brings up things we're not dealing with or lessons that need to be learned. And we've kind of had enough of those lately. There's been a lot of teachings, right, coming through, difficult situations, things that we do wish were different, want to see change, yes, but I think more so just wish were different. People's shady side is coming out. We're seeing things about these dynamics, about these situations that are really hurtful and really painful. And it's so important that we don't avoid that, right? That we don't try to shove that down or pretend it's not existing. That is coming to you for a reason. There's a reason why your emotions are being triggered. And that's really what we're here to look at. Look at those kind of deeper layers of what's happening. We'll start with this energy cleansing, a little blessing for you, blessing for me, clear out any negative, unwanted, lower vibrational energies and set the tone for the reading. It's also a good time to set your own intention. If you would like to receive specific messages or have questions answered, definitely give that to Spirit now and we'll get into it. All right. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelmment. Cleanse it and release it from us so that we can see and understand not only the messages, but the lessons clearly and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love. All right, so unfortunately, to report, this is a little bit of a tense day. There's a lot more tense aspects in the astrology today, and it's just bringing up a lot because the moon is very heavily aspected and it's all tension. And moon, if you recall, it deals directly with our emotions and our feelings and the way we internalize what is going on in our environment. I'm hearing boundaries. I'm hearing that, like, with the things that are triggering you, there needs to be a little bit more of a diplomatic perspective. Like, I feel like you're not giving yourself enough credit. You're being too hard on yourself, taking something too personally, or taking responsibility for someone else's shit, essentially, their bad behavior, right? The way that they kind of push and force their agenda. Right now, Mars is in Cancer, and it's also being negatively aspected. We've been seeing this a lot lately, and Mars really does kind of stir the pot with aggression. And if someone is not feeling, kind of like validated or understood, especially if they already have like maybe some anger, aggression issues, they're going to be pretty pissed, right? They're going to be kind of forcing their agenda. And so that's where Spirit wants you to tap into this magic, right? Like, things are not linear as much as maybe certain aspects of science or reality wants us to get that or think that. Like, it's not just a straight line. There's a lot of different paths. There's a lot of different opportunities, always creative potential, right? And so it's taking time to step back and think things through in a very intentional way, like actually setting aside time to work out the problem and issue, and I feel like this actually helps you validate yourself more in the way that I was talking about in the very beginning, like being too hard on yourself. If you can just kind of remove yourself from a minute, when we're just like processing things and still trying to keep up with the daily grunt and grind, etc., those stresses really end up affecting our emotions as well. And so something can seem 10 times worse than what it actually is. And even if someone or something is being very shitty to you, you can still remove yourself, right? You can still choose to not engage in that energy or pick that energy up as it's often referred to. Picking up that energy meaning believing the thing that they're trying to get you to believe, There is, like I said, with that Mars energy, there is the force of agenda. And right now, the only way this dynamic in partnership specifically, regardless of what that is, it doesn't just have to be love, but the only way those dynamics are working harmoniously is if you're working together. So the rub becomes places that we are having conflict with other people, yeah, and struggling to be stable in that process. I do love this earth element in your blocked energy today. There's been like zero earth element in the astrology. It's been like all water and a lot of air, and they've been kind of fighting back and forth, but water has really taken over. We have a lot of planets in water signs right now, and two of those planets, Saturn and Neptune, are in retrograde, and it just like makes you feel all the feels. I can't overemphasize that enough, if that makes sense. I can't emphasize that enough, or it needs overemphasis. I don't know, whatever is grammatically correct. But it's like this thing of like, just noting that, taking tabs. Did we get this yesterday in the same spot? Okay. So really paying attention, things are starting to shift. And we've been kind of wanting to see this lately because it's been so much of the grunt and grind, the learning lessons, having to put up with the BS, having to kind of like go through some really annoying things. And I feel like you're through a lot of it, or, kind of the places that you're seeing new change happen or your life transitioning in a better way. It's starting to feel more peaceful. You are finding grounding in those regards, but there's still some past energies that are still kind of throwing you off. And again, heavily attached to the emotion. Sometimes like too much time alone is not a great thing, or being in your head too much, finding someone or something to be a sounding board for you. I feel like it's hard because I feel like you have a lot of fear, or there's not a lot of trust around certain people, situations. Maybe you don't really know who you can divulge in or who is trustworthy. That is taking strength, but you do, right? Because our intuition always tells us, yes, people can surprise us, whether they become worse, they're like more unpalatable or more attractive, people can surprise us 100%. But it's more about like listening to yourself, right? What actually who and what you know is going to make you feel supported. It's not just like finding someone and again forcing that agenda of needing the support, needing the backup, needing the sounding board, because that's actually what has been getting you into a lot of trouble. This is what you are changing. Finding ways to better listen to your heart, your mind, your soul in order to feel more empowered in your life. Yeah. So bringing in those relationships, those dynamics. For some of you, you could be looking at love relationship, but this is also just like partnerships that work, that feel right. You know, you can meet a friend in that way as well. Feeling like you've known each other forever, or you know, it's just that instant connection again that like really just highlights the fact that life is not linear, that there is magic that happens. And when we find those in partnership, relationship, friends, community, family, it's like such a blessing. I think that's probably one of the biggest blessings in life, because life is crazy and it's a shit show. And when we have these types of connections by our side, they allow us to thrive. They allow us to find stability amongst the chaos and the discord. And I feel like so much of your mental, emotional has kind of been played with, or because of the anxiety, because of the stress you've been going through. And that's what Spirit's really focusing on today, to find that rebalancing, right? Yeah, because new beginnings are afoot. And we've been seeing this a lot. We're getting transformation in your overarching energy. You have the Ace of Pentacles in front of you. You're individualizing yourself away from those trickier dynamics, trickier people, trickier relationships, and finding a little bit more courage, like I was saying, within yourself. But I feel like there's this, you don't want to go back to what was before. And going back is this guy. He's been popping up a lot, Knight of Wands. And it looks like someone is, you know, really mad about not getting their way is what I'm seeing. And I feel like they feel like you've set these boundaries. This definitely feels like past energy, or someone that you have been like having some conflict with. They feel that you've set up your boundaries stronger, heavier, and they don't like it. And I feel like some of their immaturity is starting to come out, where this is a little bit of a runner chaser vibe, like someone who doesn't get what they want, so they're gonna run away, you know? They're like in this process of like, I'm hearing like someone wants something with you. Can they get what they want with you? And if not, they're like exiting the situation. And maybe you're kind of sensing this in your environment, or like it's playing out in front of you. The Sun and Mercury are tensely aspected to Chiron and our fortune point. So Chiron is all about healing. It's growth. It's healing the wounds, the karma. And fortune point obviously brings in our abundance. And it's hard to see that with these messier situations that we're dealing with. And I feel like Spirit wants you to, quote unquote, I'm hearing like, keep your eye on the prize, because there's new beginnings ahead. And it's actually something that is more authentic and heart honoring. Someone who is more mature, someone who's not just gonna run away at the drop of the hat, or making sure that you're not running away from problem situations, tying up loose ends before you do exit. There is a different perspective that needs to be seen, and that's what Spirit's really asking you to do, is like not see it so much through that lens of the hurt and the pain, what someone else has done to you. It's actually just about really like honoring your own self and your wants and needs. Because again, these types of dynamics only bring chaos. They only bring frustration and pain and sadness, or it's not really what you want, you end up having to do all the work by yourself. And life doesn't have to be lived in that way. We can actually have support in a way that actually makes us achieve our dreams, our goals, our desires, for the life that we're leading. And I feel like you've had a lot of resistance towards that. Venus is in opposition, so I was going to say heavily aspected to Uranus. So the places that you're kind of like trying to enliven, like your own desires, your own creativity, who you want to be, how you want to live your life, there is some resistance to that, and especially from past people and situations. They don't like it, and I feel like because for some of us, and for some of it means leaving them out. It means walking away from dynamics that have been really unhealthy and unsupportive. This person wants it to be that way anyway, It's harder for them to stick around. There's a lot of pride, there's a lot of ego invested in this person. And it's like giving up. Like maybe they could, 100%, Four of Cups, taking it for granted. There's a lot of excuses. And this is that part of you that's feeling exhausted, feeling overwhelmed. Again, like you're the one doing everything or picking up all the pieces all the time. But part of you, by remaining in that dynamic, is limiting yourself. You don't have to be running around picking up all the pieces. And if anything, it's preventing this new beginning from coming in. The more rational, this is not even just about being rational, but the difference between, like, Earth element has some stubbornness to it, right? Like where it's like, you really just have to believe in what your opinions, what your thoughts are around a situation, and then take action accordingly. Because it's like, if you don't give yourself the opportunity to be more supported, then it's always going to be this messy. And there's going to be numerous situations that come in to remind you to clean it up. Ways that maybe working in partnership, in relationship, has been a little bit overwhelming. I feel like this Knight of Wands energy, feels like you are... Well, here's the thing. Someone's just like, they already have one foot out the door is what I'm seeing. Maybe a decision hasn't been made quite yet, but that's where they're headed. And I already feel like you're done and over with this thing anyway. Like you maybe you already have one foot out the door too. Maybe you already know that, like, the only way this is going is to take separate ways, etc. And there are still some challenges around it, but I feel like this person is definitely like ready to exit, and probably acting a lot out of that anger, out of that frustration, that Mars energy that I was talking about earlier. I feel like you can pick some of this up, whether it's energetically or you do have direct communication with them. And it's kind of been hindering you a little bit because you feel like you have to be on the defensive. You feel like you have to kind of like fight all these battles, right? Is what I'm hearing. Fight all these battles that, like, in reality, you don't, you don't have to engage. There's new beginnings in front of you, and it's time to kind of like grab the reins is what I'm hearing. Not allow someone or something to have so much power. You've learned this lesson. It's time to focus on new projects, new beginnings, new learning and growth opportunities. And I feel like you're doing this, you're in the midst of doing this. It is a process. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than what we want it to, but there is like a lot of deception. There's a lot of trickery in this dynamic. And I feel like it's things that maybe you've allowed this person or situation to communicate to you, and it's actually not even really true. It's almost messing with your head a little bit too much. And that's why it's super important to break away from this energy. Individualize yourself. Take the time to actually invest in the things that you want to invest in, because there is someone or people that want to invest in you 100% with this patron card. Mentorship, finances. I love this. Change is coming. Jupiter just went into retrograde. It's in Gemini, so it's going to bring in a lot of duality. Your experience beforehand, you're going to be seeing different sides of that. Remain open. Go with the flow. If you get a closed door, it's not a crapshoot, right? It doesn't mean that that's the end of it. It just means that that opportunity isn't ready to come right this minute. But I feel like there are opportunities waiting to get you up and running, and in places that you haven't seen a lot of progress in the past. Excuse me. Definitely check those out. Definitely be open. Definitely start, creating a little more boundaries, I think, with this Knight of Wands person. And have that conversation with yourself I was talking about in the very beginning, to get some more clarity, insight on where that deception, where that trickery is playing out, because you deserve that, right? You don't deserve to walk around feeling, disillusioned. That's not fun for anyone. So I hope you found messages here. Thank you so much always for your time and energy. It really blesses my heart. Definitely drop comments below if you did resonate. I love to hear, or just connect, sharing a little love, a little TLC. Thank you so much for all the love you bring to the channel. Totally appreciate you. Sending the love and blessings your way.